The Saskatchewan and United States frontier. From grasslands to badlands. And iconic open prairie, tracing more than 600 kilometers of border country. A deadly battle that brought law and order to the west.
The result was a fight in which the Assiniboines took the worst of it.
Endangered iconic grasslands along this international boundary.
It's important to maintain native prairie just exactly the way it is.
And a dinosaur discovery that brought the story of one tiny town to the world.
First dinosaur bone found in Western Canada was found in Saskatchewan.
Now, we trace the secrets of the world's longest undefended border. More than 6,000 kilometers of rugged American frontier. Canada, over the edge. Saskatchewan's vast landscape covers nearly 600,000 square kilometers, or 60 million hectares. The province's southern border region is highlighted by endless open prairie. Agriculture has been a way of life here for thousands of years, since the early First Nations peoples tracked livestock migration paths. Today, the province is home to nearly half of Canada's cultivated farmland, more than 18 million hectares. Throughout Saskatchewan, 36,000 farms dot the landscape. Just north of the Canada-US divide, on the provincial border dividing Alberta and Saskatchewan, the landscape rises. This is Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park, a stunning landscape formed during the rise of the Rocky Mountains millions of years ago. The Cypress Hills stand unique as one of the few Canadian landscapes untouched by Ice Age glaciers. They also serve as a hydrological divide, marking the flow of rivers south to the Gulf of Mexico and north to Hudson Bay. The Cypress Hills are also a cultural landmark. They hold deep spiritual significance to the First Nations peoples of the region and were the site of a 19th century battle that played a key role in the development and enforcement of the 49th parallel.
My name is George Cush, and I'm a local historian. Cypress Hills are located on the border between the United States and Canada. The Cypress Hills are a range of mountains that seem to pop out of nowhere. One minute you're driving across wide open prairie, and the next minute you see mountains on the horizon. They seem to just rise out of the ground. Very similar to the Black Hills of South Dakota. They're quite an anomaly on the Canadian plains.
In the late 1800s, the Cypress Hills were a hub of international trade for Canadians, Americans, and the First Nations peoples along this largely unmonitored divide.
The early 1870s was a very turbulent time in Western Canada. It was a major area of trade for American traders, free traders coming up from the United States to trade with the native people.
Occasionally, tensions were heated, and in 1873, a conflict arose between the local Assiniboine people and a team of Americans hunting wolves.
In early 1873, a band of wolvers trading in Canada had their horses stolen while they were returning to Fort Benton, Montana. They decided that the Assiniboines were responsible, and they followed their horses as far as the Cypress Hills to a couple of trading posts there. And they tried to get their horses back. When the Assiniboines refused, difficulties arose, and the result was a fight in which the Assiniboines took the worst of it.
You going to mug me? I'm not going to mug you.
Is that gorgeous or what, eh?
And I believe I can run a decent marathon.
Thank you very much.
Download Veely now.
The incident was tragic for the Assiniboines and marked a low point in foreign relations between Canada and America.
They were slaughtered by the American traders, and of course, it was reported as a massacre, and the Canadian government, when informed, decided that they had to establish some form of law and order on the Canadian prairies. And needless to say, it was one of the main reasons why the Northwest Mounted Police was formed.
On the eastern edge of Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park, Fort Walsh National Historic Site stands not far from the site of the massacre. Fort Walsh was established in response to the incident and quickly became the most heavily armed fort garrisoned by the Northwest Mounted Police along the western American frontier. Today, the fort stands as a testament to those turbulent times. Heading southeast, we trace the flow of Battle Creek. Battle Creek begins as a tiny stream in the Cypress Hills, flowing more than 200 kilometers to the Milk River in Montana the Missouri River, and finally the Gulf of Mexico. And just east of Battle Creek, we approach one of the gems of this landscape. Cypress Lake is located 20 kilometers southeast of the interprovincial park that shares its name. The lake is surrounded by rolling hills, marking the last remnants of the park's topography. Cypress Lake is actually a reservoir, just 5 kilometers long, formed by the diversion of nearby waterways. The lake is shallow and marks the headwaters of the Frenchman River, a 341-kilometer-long waterway that, like Battle Creek, flows south to the Gulf of Mexico. But Cypress Lake may be best known as a haven for incredible bird life in the region. South of Cypress Lake, the rolling landscape of Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park is replaced by vast expanses of farmland. In the 19th century, the Canadian government's immigration policy encouraged settlers to move west. The population grew, and as bison were hunted en masse, more and more farms were established here. Today, millions of hectares of Saskatchewan grasslands have been converted into farmland. The industry provides direct employment to nearly 40,000 people, working on a landscape that can only be described as breathtaking. Further south, the hills rise again, This is the Old Man on His Back Plateau. A gentle ascent in the prairie landscape, just kilometers from the Canada-US border. Here, native grassland stretches as far as the eye can see. Native grasslands once covered 160 million acres along the border region, spanning 2 provinces and 5 states. It is a rare site, more than 13,000 acres of prairie in its original state. This unique area is under the protective care of the Nature Conservancy of Canada.
My name is Sue Dumontel, and I'm the Nature and Historical Interpreter for Nature Conservancy of Canada at the Old Man on His Back Prairie and Heritage Conservation Area. We are situated way down in the southwest corner of Saskatchewan. The American border is only 14 miles south of this place, and the Alberta border is 40 miles to the west, so we're really tucked down in the corner.
Today, after decades of expansion, this landscape is in danger.
Nature Conservancy of Canada is all about maintaining land in its native state, so it always stays the same, the way it was planted here and the way it grew here over the eons. And it is up to take care of it to make sure it stays in that same sense for future generations. We don't farm it, we don't cut down trees, we just maintain it the way it's supposed to be.
Most of the Old Man on His Back ranch features original untouched prairie. But one small aspect of the operations is in converting farmland back to grasslands.
This always has been ranch land here. When it was homesteaded back in 1914, it was ranch land to start off with, and it has always been ranch land, and it's always been in the same family. Of the 13,000 acres, there were 900 acres under cultivation, which means it was farmed for crops. So over a period of 5 years, native grass seed was purchased and seeded, a block at a time, so many acres at a time, with species that are indigenous to this area, which means species that grow in this area. It's been a really successful program, and right now we've had a wonderful year with lots of rain, and it's kind of hard to tell which is the native, which has always been native prairie, and which is the newly seeded back to native prairie. And the experts tell us in 50 years' time, that difference will have disappeared.
And another part of the operation here involves keeping livestock to mimic natural grazing. The fields surrounding the ranch are home to cattle and bison herds.
My name is Natalie Nikiforuk, and I'm a contract herd person for Nature Conservancy of Canada at the Old Man on His Back. So the cattle and bison are used for grazing the grass here at Old Man on His Back. The cattle are only here from June till the end of October, while the bison are here year-round. I go out there on my horse and check the herds kind of 3 or 4 times a week. So there are about 250 head of cattle here during the summer. About 60 of those are cow-calf pairs, and the rest are yearlings. There's only about 9 bulls here. For the most part, my job is just making sure that they're all healthy and getting access to the water and grass and rotating them through fields when necessary. I'm always checking to make sure they have salt and water and that the water's always clean and fresh. It usually takes me about 4 hours to check all the fields. There's 5 different groups of cows here, so they all have to be monitored kind of separately.
To the east, the bison graze on acres of native grasslands, a true symbol of the West.
So the bison are in the biggest field here at the Old Man on his back during the summer, and they actually do range quite a bit more than the cattle. They cover quite a bit more ground each day than the cattle do, so it can be really difficult to find them on a given day. Mostly we're just checking to see how the calving season is going for them and try to count the calves when we're out there. Right now there's currently around 60 females as well as 3 bulls. 2 of those are older bulls and 1 is only a yearling. Right now we have about 60 calves and they're starting to actually look a lot more like the adults, so it's quite difficult to count them when they're around the entire herd. Once they get moving, they really can run. Especially the younger animals can get quite a bit of speed going when they get up and get going. The larger bulls at the back tend to kind of just follow along and monitor the herd, and you really don't want to get too close to them. They can be quite dangerous if you're not used to working around them.
The Old Man on His Back Ranch is a major endeavor, one that Sue Dumontel believes is crucial to the long-term future of the prairie grasslands and the life of the border region.
Over the years, native prairie has been disappearing in certain areas because it's being farmed. It's suitable for farmland. But it's important to stay in its native state, just for the diversification of wildlife we see on the place. We're also home to deer and antelope. Swift fox have been reintroduced here. We have lots and lots of grassland bird species here, and it's birds that make their home in the grass itself. It's important to maintain native prairie just exactly the way it is.
"40 kilometers northeast of Old Man on His Back Ranch and 55 kilometers north of the American border, we approach another unique landscape. Here, in the Frenchman River Valley, short grass prairie is replaced by Saskatchewan's badlands, on approach to the town of East End. In 1879, the Northwest Mounted Police established an outpost here, their furthest east of Fort Walsh. More than a century later, East End is home to an eclectic mix of roughly 600 residents. Farmers and ranchers have settled here for generations. Artists and writers are also drawn, inspired by the unique South Saskatchewan topography. But the town may be best known for its rich archaeological treasures and as the site of the Royal Saskatchewan Museum's Tyrannosaurus Rex Discovery Centre.
My name is Tim Takarik. I'm head of paleontology for the Royal Saskatchewan Museum and adjunct professor of geology at the University of Regina. And we are here in the beautiful surroundings of East End, Saskatchewan.
When it comes to dinosaurs in Canada, Alberta is usually considered number one. But the first dinosaur bone was actually found in Saskatchewan.
I can drive within about an hour's circumference of East End and hit about 75 million years of continuous history. There's no other place in Canada that can match that. From the marine faunas that lived 75 million years ago and throughout the age of mammals, from about 55 to about 12 million years ago, there's fossils in here. So to recreate the story of life for the past 75 million years, this is the place to be.
And the discovery of a Tyrannosaurus Rex named Scotty in 1994 remains one of Western Canada's great archaeological finds. Scotty was the reason for establishing a permanent facility here to display and research the abundant fossils hidden in these hills.
Some of the earlier fossils we have from this area in southwest Saskatchewan are not dinosaurs, but they're from was around 75, 80 million years ago and represents the marine fauna that was around. So while there were dinosaurs in Alberta, Saskatchewan was underwater. This is a skull of a plesiosaur, which sort of looked like the Loch Ness Monster. And this skull, which is only about just over a foot long, actually belongs in a body that's about 35, or just almost 35 feet in length. Very large eyes and long, slender snout, ideal for fishing. And these are other marine fossils, some fish jaws, and what's commonly found is ammonites and baculites, these sort of nautilus-type things that live in the sea at the same time. One of the most common fossils of dinosaurs found in southwestern Saskatchewan or southern Saskatchewan are Triceratops. These are the typical iconic three-horned, horn-faced dinosaurs. They were sort of cows of their time in the sense of plentitude, and Saskatchewan was quite rich in producing skeletons of these. We have about 8 known skulls or skeletons so far from the last moments of the age of dinosaurs.
But the gem of the collection is Scotty. Tim Takarik was part of the original team that discovered him and continues to piece together his story more than 2 decades later.
This is Scotty the T-Rex, about 65% complete. We have all the individual bones of the skull. This wasn't found like a 40-foot chicken lying on its side. This was a 60-foot regurgitated omelet when it was deposited 65 million years ago. So all the individual bones were separated and misplaced within a certain area. When we found the T-Rex skeleton, it hit several points. It hit a desire by the East End community to create something more permanent here. At that time, there were only about 12 T-Rex skeletons known. All this sort of flushed into me within 5 minutes of a discovery in the middle of the Badlands, just me and my volunteer. And then after 5 minutes, it came the serious work of extraction and preparation and mounting. That's been 20 years ago.
Scotty's remains are so valuable that the display features replica bones, with the real Scotty kept under lock and key. Here, in the T-Rex Center's research wing, all the treasures found in the region are studied. From 75 million-year-old shark teeth to more incredible Triceratops remains.
This is our working lab where we mostly put the stuff back together again. And the material here that has been prepared, including the original bones of Scotty the T-Rex. This is the original thigh bone. You can see the head, the femur head, the thigh bone head, the ball, and that part fits into the pelvis, and it goes down towards the knee, to the kneecap, and you can see how massive this single bone is of Scotty, the T-Rex. From the thigh bone, we have much of the backbone of T-Rex, of Scotty the T-Rex, and this is just a portion of the backbone of Scotty. This starts at the neck here. This is more in the mid-back, and the tail vertebra are down here. But you can see the size, massive size of these things. This is more of the skull and ribs. And here are just some of the teeth of Scotty. You can see these ones are broken up really badly and have to be pieced back together again. But some of them are so well preserved that this is just the crown part of a T-Rex tooth. You can still see the serrations on the edge, like a double-edged steak knife on both sides. And it's worn, slightly worn at here, so that we know this tooth had some actual use during Scotty's life. And the biggest Rex tooth we have from this animal. You can see that these teeth are just massive. They had only one purpose, and that was just the consumption of food.
Scotty remains a career highlight for Tim Takarik, but he firmly believes the hills surrounding East End hold even greater treasures.
The T-Rex skeleton is right now, at this moment, the marquee of this facility on display. But each year we go out working in the fields, working the Badlands to find more fossils. And we just never know when we may find another one. Until you actually go and do the field work, you just don't know what's to be found in the hills.
The vast landscape of South Saskatchewan is rich in history. From the cultural stories of the Cypress Hills to the archaeology of the Badlands. Heading east, this landscape contains another resource just beneath the surface. Saskatchewan is an emerging oil and gas powerhouse, with energy exploration facilities dotting the landscape. The province holds 4.2 billion barrels of oil reserves and 4 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, enough to heat every gas-powered home in Canada for 4 years. From tiny oil wells to major production facilities, the energy sector employs nearly 20,000 people and represents more than 22% of Saskatchewan's gross domestic product. Further northeast, Chaplin Lake is a stunning sight. The lake measures 52 square kilometers. Its unique color caused by high levels of salt in these waters. Chaplin Lake is the second largest inland saline body of water in Canada. On the north shore of the lake, Saskatchewan Minerals has been harvesting for more than 60 years. The facility is one of the largest sodium sulfate producers on the continent, extracting 285,000 tons each year. The operation is enhanced by the unique geography and infrastructure here. Chaplin Lake is located near the geographic center of North America, with access to 3 major railways, shipping its product throughout North America. "150 kilometers east of Chaplin Lake, we return to civilization. This is Regina, Saskatchewan's capital city. Regina's cityscape is highlighted by its legislative building, built a century ago. The structure is considered one of the best examples of turn-of-the-century Edwardian architecture. Its central copper-clad dome rises 53 meters, overlooking the university and downtown Regina not far away. The city is home to just over 200,000 people, covering more than 140 square kilometers. It is the business and economic hub for the region and the second largest city in Saskatchewan. Southwest of Saskatchewan's capital city, Regina, open prairie lines the horizon en route to the Saskatchewan-Montana border. Just kilometers from the border, we reach the community of Val-Marie. Translated Valley of Mary, the community was settled by French farmers in the early 20th century. Today, it is home to 100 residents and is known as the gateway to Grasslands National Park. The park boasts stunning scenery, protected prairie grasslands covering more than 900 square kilometers. It is one of just 2 national parks in Saskatchewan, featuring 70 different species of grass and 50 different wildflowers. The geographical timeline of Grasslands National Park stretches back millions of years. During that time, this region has been submerged underwater, the heart of a tropical jungle, and covered in glacial ice, all contributing factors to the contours of the landscape today. Moving east, we soar above more iconic Saskatchewan farmland. The province produces an abundance of crops, including oats, barley, lentils, and wheat. Agricultural exports amount to $9.4 billion each year, with more than a quarter of shipments heading south to the United States. Livestock is also abundant here. The province is home to more than 7,000 cattle farms, with more than 2.8 million cows, more than double the human population of Saskatchewan. Further east, we reach the town of Estevan, just 16 kilometers north of the Canada-US boundary. It was settled in 1892 with the expansion of the Canadian Pacific Rail Line. Today, it is home to more than 11,000 people, an energy hub in the southeast corner of the province. Finally, continuing southeast, we reach the 49th parallel and the American frontier. This is the end of a 627-kilometer international boundary, beginning at the Alberta-Montana line and finishing here, where Manitoba meets North Dakota. From the pristine waters of Cypress Lake and the incredible rolling hills surrounding, to the Saskatchewan Badlands, and the unique community of East End. To the capital city of Regina and its formidable architecture. Saskatchewan's border region is a mix of unexpected landscapes and unforgettable, iconic images. Its rugged communities and ethereal colors reveal a living gem on this vast open prairie, here on the edge of Canada.